Express Football Club have their first win of the season and they could get another when they do host Sports Club Villa this weekend in the Star Times Uganda Premier League. Not to forget, the English Premier League is back, the big one. Newcastle at Anfield, Manchester United do host Leicester City. And also, the Uefa Champions League kicks off next week where PSG do host Real Madrid. And also, there's more to talk on the continent in the CAF Champions League and CAF Confederation Cup. Welcome to the Just Darren Show, powered by Betway.
Betway's Sport to Score is back and better than ever. Play our weekly soccer predictor where you can win your share of an amazing cash prize each week. Simply choose the first goal scorers in 4 selected matches and submit your selection before the first match kicks off. Entry is free, and if the prize isn't won, it'll roll over to the following week. Bet your way with Betway.
Now, after 3 or 4 rounds for some of the different teams in the Star Times Uganda Premier League, nearly all have at least had a smile or picked a point. Well, Express had the biggest smile this week after their first victory in the season, and that came after a fight in Luzira where they came on to win 3-2 against Mbarara City on Tuesday. And actually, it turns out that the result gave George Simogere, the current coach for Express, the impetus to hang on as the coach for the club, with rumors on one end stating that he would be sacked had they lost that encounter, and other rumors stating that he still has a few games to go, but still, he's still at the end of the cylinder, if I'm to say so, for Express Football Club. But by the way, Express could get their second win of the season this weekend, considering they do host Sports Club Villa in a crunch tie, I must say. It's a big one. Last season, Villa did struggle. However, they've reorganized their house, they've unveiled some new names across social media, a new CEO in Sean Mubiru. They have a new communications team, and also they've managed to do some trials and they've managed to pull through some new faces, all to add to names like Charles Luanga, to add to names like Albert Mugisa. Of course, in goal they have players like Saidi Kenny, and not to forget Emma Kaliwa, who did score in their 1-0 draw against at the side that they did play early on in the week, the 1-0 draw that they did have against Police in Nambole. So all that put together for Villa, they've organized their house. Express, on the other hand, not to forget that they have new kit and they look absolutely elegant in the kit that has been provided by Betway. However, their results seem to be lacking. They've only got to add a pinch of salt, especially in this big one against Sports Club Villa. Normally these encounters, when it rains in one Kurukuku, they end up in draws. However, if it does shine on Friday afternoon in Kampala, expect a mouth-watering encounter when Express do host Sports Club Villa. Be sure to bet on that one on www.betway.ug. The odds will be available, including the other fixtures that are available this weekend, where Vipers do take on Mbarara City, and also the side that is Maroons taking on Bright Stars in another game that you could bet on. Plus also Wakiso Giants, who are actually the table leaders so far. They do host Bull on Saturday. That's after they played out a 1-0 draw with Bright Stars this week. And you do expect the league to remain on fire even next week when all the other teams get back to action. But don't forget that the teams that are away are Proline and KCCA in the continental engagements that we'll be returning with right after this break.
Jimmy really likes hard work. Really. It's how he gets better at what he does. It's how he learns. It's how he impresses people. And it's how he knows United are worth it this weekend at 3.2. Oh yes, Jimmy really likes hard work. Because hard work sometimes pays off.
Now, for all the years that KCCA has dominated the Uganda Premier League, the coach Mike Mutebi recently did come out to clearly state that their desires are on dominating the continent. That is, becoming a club like Al Ahly, TP Mazembe, or even Mamelodi Sundowns, all based here in Kampala. Now, of course, KCCA have been in the CAF Champions League over the last few years, and of course, they made the CAF Champions League group stages last year when they did face Al Ahly and Esperance of Tunisia, who actually went on to win the championship. But they missed out last season after they did lose to AS Otoho from Congo in the CAF Confederation Cup and they couldn't go to the group stages. Now this time, they're only 180 minutes of football away from the group stages of the competition, and who stands in their way? It's the opponent that is Petro de Luanda from Angola, and these are the opponents this weekend in the first round of the CAF Champions League. KCCA plays away first before they host the second leg later on, and of course Mike Mutebi insists that they will still travel away and play their own way. And still sticking with that, KCCA has only managed one clean sheet away from home in the CAF Champions League in recent years. That was, by the way, the goalless draw away at St. George in Ethiopia, and of course KCCA managing to progress 1-0 on aggregate in that particular encounter last year. Now of course things have changed, and you would love to see KCCA still go pretty far. You can bet on this one on www.betway.ug. I think KCCA will have a goal in this one. They normally score, but they hardly win games away from home in the CAF Champions League. It will turn out to be the same story in my view, especially with the youngster Alan Okello banging in the goals. Now they've added the experience of Simon Serunkum and Erisa Seksambo into the team. Though John Revita is yet to be signed up, he can only play for KCCA at the next stage. About 3 names, one of them will be chosen should KCCA make it to the group stages of the CAF Champions League. Now in the CAF Confederation Cup, the other Ugandan team that is in there is Proline. They do visit AS Kigali in Rwanda on Saturday as well. So both teams that are representing Uganda are traveling this weekend in the CAF Champions League and CAF Confederation Cup. Proline did not play last week. Their fixture against Sports Club Villa, citing that their players had been summoned for national duty, and of course there was stipulation and rules from FIFA and for contradicting one another, and Proline opted not to play. We are told that they are close to a ban or penalty that could see them lose 6 points in the Uganda Premier League, but that's a story for another day. Talking the Champions League, I think KCCA will score a goal, but for them to win in Luanda may be pretty difficult, especially with the hosts having the name that is Isaac Mensah. You can bet on this one on www.betway.ug. In a short break, we'll be returning with the other Ugandans on the continent in the CAF Champions League and CAF Confederation Cup. You're watching the Just Darren Show.
Betway's Sport to Score is back and better than ever. Play our weekly soccer predictor where you can win your share of an amazing cash prize each week. Simply choose the first goal scorers in 4 selected matches and submit your selection before the first match kicks off. Entry is free, and if the prize isn't won, it'll roll over to the following week. Bet your way with Betway.
Elsewhere in the CAF Champions League, Ugandans, that is Juma Balinya of Yanga, does face the other one, that is Umar Kasumba of Zesco United. This fixture will be played in Dar es Salaam on Saturday. The winner as well qualifies to the group stages of the CAF Champions League. Now, Balinya was the top scorer in the Uganda Premier League last season with 19 goals before he crossed to move to Tanzania to play for Yanga. He actually scored the goal that saw Yanga go past Township Rollers of Botswana in the previous round. So he'll be pivotal in that one. Not to forget as well, Umar Kasumba, formerly of Sports Club Villa. He did leave Villa and then joined Sofapaka in Kenya, and it is from there that he crossed to Zambia to play for Zesco United. Zesco United, he's already scored for them against Green Mamba in the previous round and actually assisted the goal for Jesse Were in the second leg that was played in Ndola. Now, the second leg will be in Ndola, but I feel Yanga could be the favorites for me to win this one. They've done so many improvements across the board, and well, I think Balinya could as well still play a part. Now, the other player to talk about is the Uganda Cranes captain Dennis Onyango, the goalkeeper, featuring for Mamelodi Sundowns. They've made a trip away to Seychelles to face Cote d'Ivoire. That is the opponent that they do have in the first leg. They've traveled to the islands. It is where they'll be playing the first leg. Be sure as well to catch this one. The odds for me, I think Mamelodi could actually get a slim victory away from home and probably wrap it from home. With the coach Pitso Mosimane, well, knowing all corners of this particular competition that is the CAF Champions League. The other Ugandan player to talk about is another goalkeeper in Salim Jamal Magola. He's made a trip with Al Hilal of Sudan to Nigeria. They do take on Enyimba, and in the previous round Al Hilal managed to go past Ryan Sport of Rwanda, and of course they do take on Enyimba who are actually former champions in the early 2000s. They did win this title twice. I think maybe a difficult one for Al Hilal, but the fact that they have the second leg at home in Omdurman, they do fancy their chances to over both legs. But this particular weekend, I think Enyimba could be the favourites to win this particular encounter. You can bet on all the CAF Champions League encounters on www.betway.ug. Now, in the CAF Confederation Cup, there are still other Ugandans in there, including the man that is Abdul Numala of Pyramids. They did lose the Egyptian Cup to Zamalek last weekend, losing 3-0, and actually that encounter had Micho Sredojevic, the former Uganda Cranes coach, beat De Sabre Sebastian, who actually replaced him on the Uganda Cranes job, 3-0. But this time around, Pyramids hope to return to winning ways when they do take on the opponent from Algeria, that is CR Belouizdad, and I do think Rumala should be playing a part in that one. Also, Ashanti Go do take on RS Bekane, that has the Ugandan Patrick Kadu. Kadu is ineligible to play unless Bekane make it to the group stages of the CAF Confederation Cup. He's cup tied as we speak because he did play for KCCA in the previous round of the CAF Champions League, where they managed to go past the side that is African Stars. There are so many fixtures, I must tell you, including Nicholas Wadado Vazam, the right back for Uganda Cranes. His side from Tanzania does host Triangle United, still in the CAF Confederation Cup. You can bet on all the CAF Champions League encounters and the CAF Confederation Cup, all available on www.betway.ug.
We're giving you the chance to boost your multi-bet winnings by up to 100%. To activate your boost, create your bet slip, check your boost, and place your bet. It's that simple. The more selections you add, the bigger your boost. Visit Betway online now. Betway, for the love of the game.
The English Premier League returns after a break, and Liverpool still top of the charts with 12 points from the 4 matches that they've played, and they hope to make it 5 out of 5 this weekend when they host Newcastle. It is the early kickoff, considering Liverpool will be focusing on the Champions League trip that they've got to make to Napoli later on next week. Jurgen Klopp, of course, he has had to quell the heat that did come up after Sadio Mane got pissed at Mohamed Salah after he refused to pass him the ball in the previous encounter that they had against Burnley. But that seems to have settled, and Klopp has got his players re-energized. They've rested for a fortnight. The likes of Virgil van Dijk, talk of players like Joel Matip, Mane, Salah and Roberto Firmino, all available to take on a Newcastle side that last season could have actually hurt Liverpool's title chances. They held Liverpool 2-2 until the 86th minute, when Divock Origi did deliver in that one, Liverpool to win 3-2. Now, as we speak, Newcastle, they've been stubborn already this season. They beat Tottenham Hotspur at their own backyard 1-0. However, Steve Bruce, when you weigh his profile and that of Jurgen Klopp, Klopp has got the advantage. You can bet on this one on www.betway.ug. And the odd for Liverpool to win is at 1.15, and for Newcastle at 17.93, implying Liverpool are the favourites to win in this one. The early kickoff on Saturday. But moving on with the other fixtures, Manchester United do host Leicester City. United hasn't won a fixture since match day 1 when they beat Chelsea 4-0. In this one, Harry Maguire, the United centre-back, faces his former club Leicester City, but the odd for United to win is at 1.79, and that for Leicester City at 4.43. Pretty tough encounter, must say, because Leicester City is in 3rd place, right behind Manchester City, who do have 10 points on board. City on Saturday night do take on Norwich City, and this one will be away. For Pep Guardiola's side to enjoy the evening, they've got to defend pretty well, especially the striker Temo Pukki for Norwich, who's been scoring the goals for Norwich City. Not only that, even during the just concluded international break. But City remain my favourites to win in this one. They are odd at 1.16 on www.betway.ug. There are several other fixtures, including Watford who do take on Arsenal on Sunday. Arsenal's odd away from home at 1.96. You can as well bet on Arsenal picking a result on Sunday, especially with the fact that their last victory came at home against Burnley, winning 2-1. Since then, they've lost to Liverpool and then have been held at home to Tottenham Hotspur. Spurs themselves do take on Crystal Palace. You can as well bet on that one. The odds available on www.betway.ug.
Jimmy really likes hard work. Really. It's how he gets better at what he does. It's how he learns. It's how he impresses people. And it's how he knows United are worth it this weekend at 3.2. Oh yes, Jimmy really likes hard work. Because hard work sometimes pays off.
Now the UEFA Champions League returns next week, and Liverpool, the defending champions, their first fixture away from home, where they do take on Napoli. Pretty tough encounter. If you remember last season, Liverpool needed that last minute save from the goalkeeper Alisson Becker, who is currently injured, for them to go past Napoli, and they went as far as the final to win the trophy. They are first opponents this time round in their group, and I do think it will be a really tough encounter, especially with the fact that Napoli have been scoring more than 2 goals in their first 2 games of the Italian Serie A this season. But that aside, the big game in the Champions League on the opening night is PSG, who do host Real Madrid in Group A. Now this one has the name Neymar written all over it. Of course, he's suspended for their previous encounter that they did have, but PSG have got to win because they've done everything else in all the other previous competitions, but they've not found their way through the UEFA Champions League. They are often beaten at the last 16 stage, like against Manchester United last season, and this time round, Thomas Tuchel, he's got to get his act together, or else the big financiers from Abu Dhabi and the United Arab Emirates will be thinking twice about his role as the coach for PSG. It's a big one for him. Not to forget as well for Zinedine Zidane, who is building a new unit at Real Madrid, and the last time he did coach them, they were sealing a treble, 3 in a row. There, Real Madrid, as we do speak. But Madrid are visiting PSG on Wednesday night. PSG are the favorites on www.betway.ug. The odd is at 2.18, and that for Real Madrid away from home at 3.12. Madrid haven't been exceptional, I'll be honest, and the only thing I know about them is they are masters at the Champions League. They can deliver at any time, even when you least expect them to. But we'll move on to the other fixtures, including Bayern Munich, who do take on Red Star Belgrade. You can bet on that one as well. Bayern are my favorites to win. Also, the other teams to look at include Chelsea, who would host Valencia. Chelsea as well, my favorites to win in that one. Red Bull Salzburg coming in the Champions League, the side that used to have the former Cranes captain Ibrahim Sekaja. They do host Genk. I do think they'll win that one at home. Inter Milan do host Slavia Prague, my favorites to win, and of course there's a big one where Atletico Madrid do host Juventus. There could be goals written all over this one. Cristiano Ronaldo itching to win the Champions League yet again with Juventus. However, Atletico look rejuvenated and pretty much new with a youngster in João Felix, who seems to be doing everything that Antoine Griezmann used to do for them. Antoine Griezmann now at Barcelona, and they do visit Borussia Dortmund at the Signal Iduna Park on Tuesday night. A big encounter as well, I must say. But my favorites in this one remain Borussia Dortmund at home. They are a very tricky side, and normally they tend to score many goals in the group stages. The problems for Dortmund normally start after the group stages. But Barcelona, you can only write them off at your own peril, even if they've had several injuries. And guess what? I'll leave you with the thoughts of a Barcelona fan as we wrap up, but do not forget, it's just Darren.